So if you wanted to freeze these, I usually use a baking sheet and go ahead and make my patties up, and I line them up and put them on the baking sheet in single file. If you stack them up, they end up being stuck together when they freeze, so you don't want to stack them together. You could either put some parchment paper in between them, or you can freeze them single file on the baking sheet. Just put this in the freezer and then pull it back out. They'll be frozen, and you can stack them all together and put them in a Ziploc or in a container, or you can do the sheets of paper, like parchment paper or something like that, in between before you freeze them. So those are the options if you wanted to freeze it. And they're really good to have on hand for lunches and things like that. So now we're going to get started on our patties, okay? So I've got the beef already ready here, and we are going to, oh, actually, there's one thing that I didn't put on my Plan Shop Prep I forgot all about, because and this is something I'm not going to go back and change it right now, but I am going to go ahead. We like sauteed onions on our hamburgers, so I'm going to go ahead and actually start the sauteed onions because they take a minute to cook. I'm going to go ahead and use the same skillet so that I'm only using one thing and I don't have to wash again. And lo and behold, I wasn't lying with my onion goggles. I do have them in my drawer, so I'm going to look goofy and fun for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and cut up this whole onion because it doesn't matter to me if I bake it all or cook it all up ahead of time, because I like having sauteed onions on hand. Practice your knife skills at home. That's something very important that you could be doing during this time, and cook for your family. That's an awesome thing for whenever y'all are all there and all these extra activities are not going on, so you need to be pitching in. There's a lot of extra things that could be doing, and cooking is one of them that you are needing to get all the extra practice you can get. So I'm going to go ahead and just slice them into the little rainbow slices. And then I like to use butter, but you can use olive oil, or you can use anything that you want to use to saute. Remember, sauteing is a quick cook. This is kind of a rotten part. I'm going to throw that away. You're going to use high heat and saute it in some sort of fat. So I'm going to go ahead and get mine started here. A medium to high heat. And I'm going to use butter. Go ahead and put some butter in there. And now I'm not going to look goofy anymore. So, all right, let's go here. Let's get this. While that's warming up, I will begin the beef for you. That part was still a little bit yucky. There we go. All right. Now, it says to combine the first 5 ingredients. So I'm going to go ahead and do the first 5 ingredients, which would be the onion soup mix. Now, I don't know that we've used this before, but this is the generic version, but they have another kind, and you only need about half of the package. So they come in little packages like this, and you only need about half of the package. If you like this flavor, then you can use more than that. If you don't like this flavor, do something else. It doesn't matter. You can just use salt and pepper if you wanted to. But this has little flakes of onion in it that season up your patty really well, and all of the seasoning that goes in there with it. It's onion soup mix, so you could make an onion soup with it. A lot of people make a dip out of this kind of seasoning mix. So it's up to you, whatever you do. I'm gonna take my ring off, put it over there so I don't get it yucky. All right, now it says to use about 2 tablespoons of ketchup. I'm gonna eyeball that with my spoon. Obviously another seasoning thing here. And And then I told you I was going to be using saltine crackers also. But don't forget your salt and pepper. We want to make sure that we get nice good seasoning into our patties. You don't want bland patties. The reason I am doing this specific recipe, I did not say earlier, is because we just had our budgeting lesson, and this is a very cost-effective, friendly budget recipe, so that you can have something that you can make a lot ahead of time and freeze it, and it can serve for many meals, or ground beef is just a cost-effective way of cooking. So when you're needing a budget-friendly recipe, this is one that would be really good. So saltine crackers, I'm only going to use about three to four of these. And then what you're doing is you're just going to kind of crush these up so that they're spread out through all the patties. Okay. And then I'm going to use my hands and get in there. Remember, the cracker is for a binder, so it will bind that meat all together, and it soaks up the grease a little bit so that it doesn't fall apart on you. All right. I'm actually going to go ahead and throw these in. Because I'm not washing my hands, I'm not too worried about it because I am cooking these. So I'm not going to be worried about my hands being clean in order to put these over there because it is cooking it at a high temperature. So it will cook off any of the bacteria that you might be worried about. Okay, now remember, when we're sauteing something, we're letting it sit there for just a few minutes in your skillet at a high heat. Now, did you hear the sizzle? I hope you can hear that from there. So we've got the high sizzle going on before I ever put it in there. It was melting my butter, and then I wanted to hear that sizzle when we put it in there. Okay, I'm going to use this baking sheet again just to put my patties on. Remember, I said I'm going to make little patties and not big ones because I really want to make sure that they're going to fit on my rolls. They're just kind of a fun party size. So we're calling them the sliders or whatever. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and get these. They're about the size of my palm. And then what I'm going to do is, so that they don't shrink up too much, this is a tip for if you're using them on the grill, which you could do also, you could make these on the grill, is I'm going to put a little indentation inside of my patty, just with my thumb, like this, so that they have a little bit of space to shrink up. They're actually going to shrink up probably quite a bit, but I don't want them to shrink up too much, and that indentation keeps them from shrinking up to be like little meatball size, because it has something to fill in. Okay, this actually is making it quite a bit of the sliders. You only have 12, I think, rolls in one of those packages. So if you wanted to make 12 patties, then that would be exactly what you would need. I maybe made these a little bit big, but we're going to go with that. Okay, and now these are ready to go, if you can see those. All right, I'm going to go wash my hands, and I'll be right back.